Welcome to the Windbridge Afterlife Science Podcast. This podcast is for educational purposes only. Be sure to check with a licensed healthcare provider when considering treatment options. Today we're doing something a little different, a radio play. Based on an insightful piece by Dr. Julie Beischel, we're diving into some common misconceptions about mediums. In this play, Chelsea will take the role of Dr. Julie, the Director of Research at the Windbridge Research Center, while Todd will play Julie's fictional Uncle Harold, a character who represents common skeptical perspectives on mediumship. To set the scene, Julie and Harold are seated around a table enjoying a family holiday meal. Let's get started. The Windbridge players proudly present. Well, actually, responses to common misconceptions about mediums.
So, Julie, what is it you do again? You, talk to dead people?
Well, actually, Uncle Harold, I'm the Director of Research at the Windbridge Research Center, where we study mediums, people who regularly communicate with the deceased. We conduct controlled experiments to learn more about their abilities.
Well, isn't that just a fancy way of saying you work with frauds taking advantage of the bereaved?
Well, actually, that's a common misconception. It's like saying all mechanics or doctors are con artists. Just because some people may act unethically in any field doesn't mean the entire profession is a scam. Our research with scientifically tested mediums has shown they can report accurate and specific information about deceased people, even under strict lab conditions.
Come on! You're telling me there's good evidence for this medium stuff?
Well, actually, decades of research have been performed, including government-funded studies, that show statistically significant evidence supporting psychic and mediumistic abilities. Even well-regarded researchers around the world have reviewed these studies and found strong support for the existence of psychic phenomena.
How can science even study something like mediumship? It's not exactly your typical lab experiment.
Well, actually, science is a tool set we can apply to almost anything, Uncle Harold. For over a century, scientists have used these methods to study mediumship and related phenomena. It's not about the subject itself, but rather the methods we use to approach it scientifically.
All right, so let's say there's something to it. Why don't more scientists study it?
Good question. Research on mediumship faces stigma and limited funding. It's a taboo topic in some circles, and funding for controversial research is hard to come by. This means that only a few dedicated research groups can do this work, but we're working to expand awareness and support.
Okay, tell me this. If mediums are real, why don't they just use their abilities to win the lottery?
Good try, Uncle Harold, but predicting lottery numbers is not something mediums do. Mediumship is about connecting with the deceased, not predicting random events. It's like saying, if chefs were real, they'd turn rocks into pies.
So you're telling me these TV mediums, then, are legit? They seem 100% accurate on screen.
Well, actually, that's mostly due to editing, Uncle Harold. TV shows cut and polish footage for entertainment, which creates unrealistic expectations. Mediumship is an unfiltered experience in real life, and accuracy depends on many factors, including the sitter's openness and expectations.
Fine, but how can life after death even be possible? I mean, when the brain dies, that's it, right?
Well, actually, that's only one theory. There's a lot of evidence suggesting consciousness might exist beyond the physical brain. Think of it like a TV set. If the TV gets damaged, the picture is affected, but that doesn't mean the picture originates from the TV itself. Many believe that consciousness is received by the brain rather than produced by it. This concept aligns with evidence that consciousness could continue after the brain and body die.
Interesting, but why is research on these topics important?
Well, actually, it's tremendously important. Our research directly impacts treatments for grief, alleviates anxiety around death, and assists in end-of-life care decisions.
All right, Dr. Neese, I had no idea. This has been really helpful. You've really changed my mind on this stuff. I mean it. So, how can I support the work you're doing?
Thank you, Uncle Harold. You can visit windbridge.org to donate and help support our research. We're a nonprofit organization, so every bit goes directly toward advancing our studies and providing free educational resources.
Count me in for a monthly donation. This is fascinating stuff, and I'm glad you're doing it. I can't think of a topic that affects more people.
End scene. Thanks for tuning in to this special radio play edition of the Windbridge Afterlife Science Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, like, and share. Visit windbridge.org to join our email list and support our work. For more information about today's topic, check out our show notes, discussion questions, and download the full Well Actually script at afterlifescience.org. Until next time.